All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at variations in population, and we're going to explain how genetic diversity of a species or populations affects its ability to withstand environmental pressures. So we're going to focus in on this statement here for this first part of lower diversity equals more risk for an environmental pressure. And so my example is going to be California condors. If you know anything about the California condors, they were basically, there was overhunting and then there was some lead poisoning stuff that led to pretty much their extinction. And so only a few led to all the individuals that exist. So there used to only be there was only 7 or 8 total birds that ever existed that led to all the individuals. So they're all very genetically similar. Get out.
Get out.
So there's a higher probability of an environmental problem or environment change causing problems. They might be more susceptible to climate change. They might be more if there's a disease that comes through, it could wipe them out because they're all very, very genetically similar, okay? And then in this next one, the opposite could also be true. So that if there's more diversity, then they're less at risk for an environmental pressure. And so my example for this one is just how genetic diversity can be affected. And so when we look at COVID-19 in humans, some humans, if we think about it, these are kind of the range, right? Some are completely asymptomatic. It's estimated at this current recording, about 40% of the population is asymptomatic. They never experience symptoms, okay? There's some that have very mild symptoms. There's some that have moderate symptoms, meaning you get pretty sick, but you recover at home, you're fine, all that kind of stuff. And all of this is based off our genetics and how our genes, our human genes, are responding to this disease. And because we have a very vast diversity in terms of the human population, we all respond a little bit differently because we have a lot of genetic variation. And so there's less risk for an environmental pressure, meaning the disease that's going to come through, this COVID-19, is not killing every single human or anywhere close to that, but it's causing some people, right? There are many, many cases of extreme sickness that leads to death. And so there's a huge variation in the amount of symptoms. These don't lead to death. And then there's this death. But eventually, it's just because of our diversity, we are all responding to this disease differently. And so we're less at risk for this environmental pressure of this disease.